Logan Myers here, back for 31 Days of Horror, and we're going to talk about David Cronenberg's 1986 monster film, The Fly. Cronenberg is, one of the few directors that I didn't really get into until I was older. I didn't grow up on his films or anything. I only knew David Cronenberg from the Clive Barker film Nightbreed, where he was an actor. He played the killer, the psychiatrist. So I was never really familiar with his directing or his films until the past 5 years or so. I'm a huge fan of Scanners, and now I'm a huge fan of The Fly, so let's talk about it. In the film, we have the good old Jeff Goldblum, the charming, eccentric, awkward, and good-looking, handsome young scientist, Seth Brundle. So Seth is a scientist. He's really smart. He's working on this project, and it's based around teleportation. Seth meets up with a young journalist named Veronica, played by a young Geena Davis, and he invites her back to his place to show her what he is working on. And you walk into the apartment, it's all the 80s technology, the old school computers, and it's all hooked up to these two pods in his house. And she's really interested. She's like, yeah, you have to show this to the world, you have to tell the world what you're working on, because you're onto something here, it's a way to change life forever. He's kind of cautious at first, and then he's telling Veronica maybe she should write a book instead of a magazine article, write a book about what he's working on, his experiment, and it will further her career as well, except, instead of being a journalist for magazines, she could be a world-renowned author. Seth ends up running the experiment on himself. He gets into the pod, and a little fly happens to fly into the pod, and that sets up the rest of the movie. He wasn't expecting this, and he slowly transforms into this monster, into this giant fly. At first he's got strength, he feels alive, he has a bunch of energy, he's a good-looking guy. As the movie evolves, you see the downfall of Seth as he becomes this monster. He gets crippled, and his skin is eating away, and he looks like a monster. He looks like a zombie or something. And the hair and his teeth are falling out, and his ears are falling off. He's walking with the cane, and you can see how he digresses, as a charming, very smart scientist into this fly that, deteriorating in front of our eyes. Throughout the rest of the film, you just see his personality changing, and as he becomes this full-fledged fly, and the makeup work on his character is top-notch for 80s, 80s practical effects. This era was known for good makeup artists and transforming actors into these otherworldly creatures. And this is a perfect example with Goldblum transforming into this ugly, scary-looking monster fly. Overall, I love 1986's The Fly, directed by David Cronenberg. You see that he has his own style with his films, in terms of the score, the way things are filmed, just the camera angles in certain ways that he shoots. You can tell it has a stamp of David Cronenberg. And the score in this movie is really good. The opening sequence, bah, bah, the horns, and the way that it ends, just really, really stylistic director. And David Cronenberg, this is probably his best film, in my opinion. And, top-notch performances by Jeff Goldblum and Geena Davis. They just have a great chemistry. They're in a few other films together, but this movie is probably their best on-screen performance together. Overall, I'm going to give David Cronenberg's The Fly a 4 out of 5 insect pieces. So what do you guys think of The Fly? Have you seen the film? Are you familiar with David Cronenberg? What's your favorite David Cronenberg movie? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. This is Logan Myers signing out from Seth Brundle's experimental apartment. Ooh, kind of weird in here. Jeff Goldblum in here? Until next time, cheers!